Across this past year, we've heard from so many educators the question, how do I keep my students engaged in their learning? Particularly challenging in a virtual context. And yet when we look at our young people, in so many ways, they are so engaged in the world. They are leading protests and they are launching movements. They're making movies, they're starting companies. And we are gonna need our young people. We are gonna need them to lead our country forward through challenges we can't even imagine. Their education has to prepare them for that job. Across these conversations, we kept hearing about the importance of content, how the tasks that we give students shapes what they learn and shapes how they engage. As we probed about what really makes for that worthy content, we heard multiple themes, not just one. So while the previous videos felt like different people saying variations on one idea, this video is going to feel different. In this video, we want to bring you the different themes that all shape what makes content worthy of students' time and energy and effective in shaping their learning. And there are variations on this theme for each discipline. What matters for math is a little different than what matters for literacy and science. We will have content-specific videos and follow-up to the series. But across content disciplines, there are some themes about the importance of challenge, about the importance of relevance, and about the importance of building student knowledge. Here's some of what we heard.
I learned by working on problems and by solving puzzles, to put it in a nutshell. I remember one puzzle I was trying to solve that it's like that really classic difficult coin weighing puzzle where you have 12 coins and one of them's either heavier or lighter than the others and you have 3 weighing. It's a really difficult puzzle and I was in tears trying to solve it. My mother had already solved it and she came in and asked me, this was a seminal moment in my mathematics education, not just a random story, I think. She said, do you want me to tell you the answer? And I said, no, don't tell me the answer. And so she said, okay. And she went out of the room again. So having a teacher who is willing to let you struggle, even when they see the pain of that struggle, I think is important.
When I was 8, in October of my 4th grade year, my mom passed away. And after that, I lived with my dad. My dad was quite sick with undiagnosed Alzheimer's. So home was this place that was scary and inconsistent and unstable. But school was amazing. I had a teacher in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, Mr. Osterweil, who saved my life. His classroom was safe and nurturing and supportive. And it was also incredibly academically rigorous and engaging. We read the New York Times every day, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. We did productions of A Midsummer Night's Dream, Shakespeare in elementary school. We did production of Alice in Wonderland. We went to the ballet and to the museum. We were exposed to a whole world beyond Canarsie, Brooklyn. And those experiences at PS 276 shaped my life profoundly, and also how I think about schools. And I really became a teacher because of the difference that Mr. Osterweil made in my life during that really difficult period.
The things that are the hardest to do, like the things where you're so nervous about it or scared or you don't know if you can do it, I think those are really, really important. And I think challenge in school is really important. Like you have to do things that are hard that you maybe don't want to do because that's how you're going to grow.
If you're looking for engagement, you have to be willing to say, how do I merge the things that I am seeing as important with the things that kids see important for a kind of maximum engagement? If kids are worried about unequal treatment by the police, then we need to have that conversation so that they can, for example, write the letter that goes to City Hall. My goal is to get them to be proficient writers. Their goal is to make a difference about what's happening in their neighborhoods. Or they make some claim that, you know, the police always hassle us. Okay, that's an assertion. Where's the data? Okay, now I'm in the math now. I need you to survey the rest of your classmates, or I need you, I need to divide folks up and say, you guys have the Sixth grade, you got the seventh graders, you've got the eighth grader. Let's compile the data. Let's do the graphs. Let's do the charts. All of the stuff that I really want to teach you, I've got to teach you in a way that, you know, captivates your interest and your desire to know certain things.
We also know that teaching skills only isn't working. We know that not centering students' identities in their lives and making it relevant and responsive to their lives isn't working. We know that not connecting it to real social political issues where they don't know the purpose. You know, I was talking to a colleague this morning, and he's working with computer science and relevancy for computer science. And the teacher did something with the stock market. And one of the girls said in the classroom said, this is not relevant to me. This is like for powerful white men. Why are we learning this in class? And so oftentimes teachers just say, well, because we just need to learn it. This is good for you. No, tell that girl why this will help her in her life, because it might not. Like, they're being honest with us. So we don't listen enough to the students, respect them enough in their minds and their questions and their thinking and their demands of us. And so that's the stuff that's not working. And you know, and then we can go, we know there is implicit harm. People call it implicit bias. There is implicit harm that's happening in our schools, like being non-racist as a teacher, teaching skills only, not relating it to their lives, tokenizing cultures, such as putting a character in the book on, but not really the essence of the culture being taught. You know, those are all what I call implicit harm.
It all came from Rousseau. Rousseau was the first. He said, you've got to follow nature. You have to take these children out of swaddling clothes and let them be active, let them develop properly. And of course, he was quite right about that. And it was so convincing that, but then Rousseau made another move. He said, that's just the way the children should learn their lessons. They should do what comes naturally. Well, that's incorrect, and it's known to be incorrect. So in other words, nature is not saying let the child develop and do developmentally appropriate things. Nature is saying teach the child what the child needs to know in your particular society. Tribal competence.
It's incredibly important to build a knowledge base, a shared knowledge base in your classroom. Around writing, and in fact, a deep understanding of whatever students are writing about. When we started, we thought that our approach would be a collection of skills, that we would do instruction in individual skills of craft, and that would do the trick. And in fact, the writing did improve when we pinpointed those things and taught to them. But it never reached the level, only with a very few students who probably would have done it without us, did it reach the level that we were hoping for, the level we were hoping everyone would be able to achieve, to write clearly and effectively. And at that point, we realized that we needed to make sure that was there for students, that deep understanding. And that's why the approach that we eventually wound up developing is called Writing for Understanding, because that was probably the most important thing that we discovered, that when you write, you need to have something to say.
And what we know to be true is students from a young age start to determine whether or not they're good at science or not. And if they miss those experiences in these rich experiences we've been talking about, or if they're reduced to reading about science as their only way of knowing and understanding, then we could miss out on really supporting interest and curiosity in the field of science and engineering in a way that we wouldn't see the outcome of that for a number of years if students don't have access to those experiences in elementary, because we may be trying to compensate for other areas. So, I think that is a real concern for us when we think about our workforce development. It's not just about what our high school students are doing to be prepared for college when it comes to science and engineering. It's about what we're seeding at these early grade levels right now, or not seeding, that could have impacts far down the line.
And where this really hit me was when my 19-year-old, who is smart in computers, was taking his ACTs, and I just thought about the topics he was taking, and I was just like, you're not answering any questions about the internet on these tests, are you? And the answer is no.
Right.
He's not answering any questions about the internet. The internet is everywhere. It's everything, and we're not answering any questions about it. Who are we preparing to inherit the world?
Holding multiple things to be true about what matters to content is complicated. These are tensions educators live in every day, and this is what makes curriculum design both multidimensional and also contextual. But many things can be true, and these conversations really left me believing that only if we see the multiple drivers of what makes for quality content are we going to support student engagement and student learning. Here are my 3 big takeaways. 1, content needs to both equip students with a knowledge of the world and prepare them to change the world. Content needs to both build a common base of knowledge in a way that broadens student understanding of a diverse world and also honors students' unique identity and story. 3, content needs to give students foundational knowledge to allow them to engage while also challenging students to persist through novel challenges. We will explore the nuances of this in content-specific videos to come. Next up, theme 4. Moving forward into content with support will advance learning more than stopping and going back. Thanks for watching.